you have a direction to go in. And I think that's what most people are missing, is they're missing the direction. They know what they want. They don't know what they believe about what they want. Separate what you truly believe and what you've been taught that you believe. And I found by going inward that those two really are separate.
Aloha, beautiful, amazing listeners and viewers on the other side. My name is Krista Ralakshmi Ditton, coming to you from beautiful Texas today. And here in Abundance in Action podcast, we believe that each one of us, we have a treasure box inside. And once we open it, we can start to manifest our life and our dreams on our terms. And today I have another amazing guest on the other side. And in a bit, I will introduce, and I'm so glad that, getting into Tony Robbins' group has brought me lots of amazing, more and more amazing connections. And here we have Maria Lauzon, who is one of those connections. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah. And I'll just do a little introduction, and then we'll go deeper into some of your passionate topics, and which are actually also my passionate topics. So we can, bounce it off from each other. So Maria Lauzon is from upstate New York, a single mom to an 11-year-old. And working hard was nothing new to her, as since 11 years old, she worked in a paperwork company, White Linen Inc., where she even sold napkins for Whitney Houston wedding and babysat. She has done it all, studied education K6, sold Mary Kay, worked in several retail businesses, and became a sales director in Mary Kay. And in 2009, her departments made $1 million in sales. Then he met a man and gave birth to a beautiful baby boy in 2011 and became a stay-home mom. She started volunteering in his kindergarten and became a PTO president there. That man left her and her son in 2018, and in 2019, she started to work as a substitute teacher at her son's school. And when the COVID hit, the schools closed down and she started homeschooling her son. In November 2020, she woke up wondering, how was she on the top of the world in her 20s and 30s, and where did the drive go? Then Wildfit 90 happened to get her health and fitness in balance. 13 weeks later, 20 pounds lighter and 40 inches smaller, she got inspired by the question, how would you want to emerge from COVID? She found Lifebook program and did 6 weeks program with them. Shortly after, she joined Wildfit Coaches program. And next was Lifebook Mastery program, where 12 weeks later, she became a Lifebook leader in January 2020, when she also created her Honeysuckle Coaching company. And with focus and planning, everything became possible. Now, even the sky is not the limit. So welcome.
Thank you.
So now I know there are probably very many people in our audience who go into that category of being a single mom, or maybe even a single dad, and keeping everything going, not only in balance, but also thriving and in harmony. So it seems that you have gone through this really, really deep low point and low abyss in your life. What would you say were the key elements which actually helped you to get out of this, maybe 2 or 3 step-by-step process? What was very important for you, and what helped you to get out of it and hopefully never go back again?
Yes, hopefully never go back. I'd have to say getting my health in order. Once I joined Wildfit and started on that path, I was around a lot of people that were making a difference in their life and bringing a lot of positiveness to what we were doing. And of course, I had great success with that, losing 20 pounds and 40 inches. Everybody around me was noticing. And at that point, that's when I really decided Lifebook was what I needed to do next, where I took 12 categories of my life and really brought consciousness to all those 12 categories. And when you start to do that, a win anywhere is a win everywhere. So you're winning in health and fitness. You can also be winning in your love relationship, in your parenting, in your financial, and your career, because that's kind of how it all works.
Mm-hmm. And I really love it because I know myself as a Wildfit coach as well. I know it's so many times people finally somehow they find it and are considering to join the program. And what has happened till that moment is that so many people put health on a back burner, and it's there until they end up in a hospital or they have a really bad, maybe even like a terminal disease, show up. So what do you think needs to change in people's lives or mindset so that they would actually maybe start to understand that maybe to start with health would need to go a little higher on the priority list? What do you think needs to change there?
Well, it's really nobody's fault. It's kind of the time frame that we're growing up in, where when we go to the grocery store, a lot of it is not really stuff we should probably be eating. And I grew up on a dairy farm in upstate New York. So during my childhood, my parents, because we didn't have a lot of money, they grew and raised the food that we ate. So I was aware of all of that. But my biggest dilemma was milk. We were dairy farmers, so we could easily go to the barn and have a pitcher of milk pulled out of the tank and drink it. And that's kind of how we were raised, because they were farming it. They were in the barn working. We were hungry. So that was the easy thing to do. Looking at that now and reflecting on that, it didn't really set us up for true health, because really we're the only mammal that drinks somebody else's milk. So thinking about that and seeing how Wildfit changed my behavior and my thought process really is what has made the biggest change in my life. I now can see milk and ice cream and all of the things and really not have a need to have it. It really took care of my cravings in that regard, which is a pretty amazing thing, since the fact I'm in my 40s and I always had an addiction to dairy.
So what do you think a person who hasn't done Wildfit, doesn't even know about Wildfit, which is a food freedom program developed and created by Eric and Meads, a Canadian businessman. So what would it take to get them to understand, exactly that, okay, we need to put health to, on a higher priority list than just as a last thing? What have you noticed already working with your clients as well? What would that shift be? Maybe you could mention even just one or two things. What was it for you? What was it for others? To get to that point that I need to really work and go deeper with my health.
I think it's the realization that you're tired of feeling the way you're feeling. I was tired all the time. I had brain fog and I didn't understand why. I wasn't sleeping particularly well. So I think something has to awaken you. For me, it was, I'm only 43 years old. Why do I feel the way I do? And also I looked at my child and said, how come he doesn't know the mom that I once was when I was in my 20s and 30s? I wasn't tired in my 20s and 30s. I was full of life and energy and could go for hours and days with no sleep. And what happened and why was I currently here? I think it's like an awareness. You've got to recognize that there's something not right and then take action to fix the problem. And the action taken is probably most likely different for just about everybody. One of the biggest things that I changed in my life was a green smoothie every day, and getting 10,000 steps in a day. Those two things really started the momentum that gave me the energy, along with meditation, to really push me forward. And in doing those three things, sleep became a priority, which had really never been a priority prior to that. Raising a little one, you don't get a lot of sleep. And so the recognizing that I needed the 8 hours a night was really life-changing.
Yeah, these are so simple things and so crucial. So now going back to your very first experience with Wildfit 90, do you remember what were your, like, maybe in detail, what was your why and what other reasons you had to join? And how was that experience to go through it with the group and coach? I don't know if you did it that way, but usually it's that way it's done. So what was different with that to have a coach in the group?
My why for doing Wildfit was I just wanted to feel better. I didn't really have any ailments at the time. But I knew my father had ALS. I needed to make myself healthier so I didn't end up in the same realm as what he had to experience. So that was my why. Going through Wildfit and the coaching and everything, it was really eye-opening to recognize that this wasn't just an American problem, that this was a worldwide problem. Because I did Wildfit with people from all over the world and different continents. And I also did people that were all different ages. Some were young and some were older. Some had health problems and some did not. So I really got to experience Wildfit through many eyes at the same time, and seeing that it really can change people's life trajectory. People were diabetic becoming post-diabetic. People had high blood pressure and they finally had normal blood pressure. And when I was doing the course, someone had their appendix out and they were up back to doing their life like a day later. So the fact that you could heal so quickly was really eye-opening to me. And I was amazed by it and felt like I needed to share it with everybody I knew.
Yeah. What were your main wins after the first Wildfit challenge you did?
My biggest ones were I lost 20 pounds and 40 inches. That took me down considerable amount of clothes sizes. I had no brain fog when I was through Wildfit. I didn't crave the milkshake that I had my entire life. I felt better. My energy was through the roof. I could wake up in the morning and go straight through till 10 o'clock at night and not have that like nap that you needed at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, or that feeling like I'm just so tired. I can't do this anymore. That all went away. And we have a busy lifestyle. I mean, my child plays 3 different sports. I'm running to practices 5 days a week and working full time, coaching. And I'm able to do it all and not like I go to bed at night and I'm not stressed. I'm not rushed. I just can manage doing everything I need to manage as a parent and as a woman, just working.
Yeah, that's so crucial. I noticed that as well, that, getting those very basic elements of my well-being into place with Wildfit was very, very easy. And once you start to do it regularly, it becomes your lifestyle. And then once it's your lifestyle, you don't need to use any willpower to push yourself to do anything, because it's just so natural part of your life that you can't even imagine. Like, in your case, even like I can totally get it that you probably can't live without like, walking 10,000 steps anymore because your body is so used to it, right?
Right. Yeah, I can go out in the yard and throw balls with my child and kick a soccer ball, which I hadn't done in years. I also can do that when I teach gym at school. Like,
yeah,
you have so much more life to you.
Yeah, the life quality really increases on so many levels. So that's like I totally agree with Eric Edmeades, who has said that, guys, if you want to change your life, start with your health, everything, your relationships, your business, your sexuality, your health, your career, your finances, everything will be better. And in my own case, also, I did it last year in the beginning of the year. And I did it actually 2 times. I did the second time also with my husband. And then after we were done, we actually attracted like a 4.5 million real estate investment property into our lives. And we jumped on board with several other amazing investors and, have been running this project the whole time. And now we are about ready to exit this. And the value of this property has increased 2 million with it that time. And I totally believe part of that was also that we let go so much crap with Wildfit that now more abundance and more of good stuff can come into our lives.
Very nice.
Yeah. So how has it been with you? Like, have you noticed also that after Wildfit, your financial situation has improved?
Yes, everything has improved. We put Quinn during COVID, due to the fact that they were remote so much of the time, we were able to put him in Sylvan Learning to get caught up from where he was. And honestly, prior to Wildfit, I would have never even considered doing anything like that. I took on both Lifebook and Wildfit coaching at the same time. And we were able to pay cash for both of those programs to start both of those companies, to coaching both of those businesses. So yeah, I would have to say Wildfit it's changed my life tenfold. Lifebook has also, right along with it, brought consciousness to categories I never even thought about, such as character and spirituality, intellect, emotional. Those are all categories that are super important. But prior to going through this journey, I never really spent any time thinking about that. So I would have to say Wildfit started the journey. And everything since then has it's taken off.
Yeah, cool. And one of your favorite topics is also self-love. You said also so beautifully that once you start to work with the inner world, everything starts to fall in place outside. And I'm so on the same page with that. Also in my life, many years ago, once I started to really focus and deep dive into my self-love and, fill myself with everything I was till that point, thinking that others have to give me or fill me, then everything started to change. And I turned actually into like a tractor magnet so that, things and people and possibilities came to me. Can you go a little deeper with that self-love element, how that was for you? What did you learn, and what would you maybe recommend also people to start with when they start this journey and go deeper? Is like, I believe self-love is at least the cornerstone, if not maybe the whole foundation for our lives.
Yes. When I started to go inward and take care of me first, before anybody else, a lot of things really changed. I take 2 hours in the morning before I go to school. And I meditate. I have my smoothie. I try to walk at least 2,000 of my 10,000 steps. And I really put a lot of focus of that, listening to something positive in the morning before I go in. And I find that my days are just smooth. Not only that, if something, things come along all the time and we're not always ready or prepared for it, I find that I am way more able to handle those circumstances and situations than I was ever before in my life. It's when you take care of you, the rest of the world falls into place. And it took me a long time to understand that and to figure that out. But since I figured it out, life has just become so much easier.
Yeah, I think also many of us, we come from times, where it was told that, if you put yourself first, you are too egoistic and, you shouldn't do it and you should take care of everyone else. And then if you have something left, you have to take care of you. And that's totally not working. I'm like you, the first 2-3 hours in the morning is I fill my cup so that I can fill, others later. So whether it's a workout, like this morning, I was bicycling, and then I have also step count, which I follow every day. So these are the non-negotiables to get myself going and set the framework for the day. Very important. So what do you say? What would be maybe the first or couple of steps people would need to take in order to not feel bad about, putting themselves first and taking care of themselves? What would help them?
I would start with one thing. For me, it was the green smoothie. That really but it could be something else for you. It could be exercise. It could be meditation. It could be just going to bed on time. That's on my 12 sacred steps that I follow pretty much every day. Is getting to, my goal is 9:00 to be in bed and reading something and to be asleep by 10. It doesn't always work, but I would say 95% of the time it does. And the same thing with the green smoothie and the exercise and the meditation. You can't beat yourself up though, if you can't get it done that day. Last Friday, it just didn't work for me. I was rushed in the morning. I didn't have time. And I can tell you, it didn't go as smoothly as it normally would, but I didn't beat myself up on it. Just Saturday, I got back on the horn. And and I also track it. I track it because not that I'm going to forget it, but there's something about checking it off.
Yeah.
There's a power in that.
Yeah, I really agree also that, adjusting, if something comes up or doesn't go the way you kind of envisioned or planned it, adjusting is totally okay. It's life, and just be easy on you. I sometimes also as a high achiever, that's what happens, you set goals and you're like, oh my God, this didn't happen. So, and sometimes also I've noticed that I set, maybe also kind of a little lower goal so that I would feel and get that feeling of accomplishment. And then I can increase it slowly so that I don't need to jump over my shadow and then feel oh, I didn't, succeed with that. And, all the trouble coming from that. And I so agree with tracking it as well. I actually made my own, tracking system, Excel sheet where I basically put down all, with my Garmin watch as well, steps, calories, sleep, how everything was, what I can fine tune and optimize. So, nowadays it's so easy. Even if you don't have the watch, you have the phone, which has massive amounts of apps you can use, right?
Yes. Yeah. Tracking it is definitely will help you. And the other thing too is, you probably have a massive goal that you want to achieve. Break it down into small steps. That is huge. Little steps move you mountains just over time. So it's important to figure out what would be the smaller step in that big goal that you might have.
Yeah, totally agree. Also, what they say, every 1,000 mile journey starts with the first step. So yeah, get going, take action, really important. So let's now dive a little deeper into Lifebook. I know this is part of the Mind Valley, one of the Mind Valley programs. I actually listened to the masterclass, which is free. Everyone, you can just type it in and find it, and it has lots of amazing elements. And I think everyone who wants to really upscale their life on every level, that's probably a good way to start. So tell us a little bit, how was the experience, firstly, to do it with your own life and then take it to the next level to become the coach for other people? What did you learn with the first and what did you learn with the second, and why would you recommend it for people?
Lifebook changed my life tremendously. It's the first time that I actually looked at the 12 categories of my life. And the 12 categories are health and fitness, intellectual, emotional, spiritual, character, financial, career, social, quality of life, and life vision. And when you start taking just one of those categories at a time, so I started with health and fitness. I then, looked at intellectual and emotional and spiritual and character, which really all have to do with you yourself. Parenting, social, career, financial, those have to do if you're married or if you have a family. But so the first thing I did was work on me. And now I'm trying to make it whole and work on the entire thing. I wrote my entire life book. It's about 150 pages long. I looked at what I believed about it, that topic, what my vision for that category was, what my passion behind it, what would make me actually achieve it, which for me happens to be my son for most of these categories. And then the third thing was come up with strategies that I could achieve my goals in those categories. And I put that all in my book and created a book. And then from there, I decided to go into Mastery, Lifebook Mastery, which is also offered. There, they really take the funnel of focus and your life vision, and they kind of make those things merge together. All the way where you break them down from yearly goals to quarterly goals to monthly goals to weekly goals to daily goals, which equals your 12 steps. And when you move one thing in one category, it really moves all the categories. So I was really surprised and interested by the fact that if you moved your health and fitness, you could move all the other categories in Lifebook. That really, I was just impressed by it, that's how it worked. I became a life coach because, again, I saw people achieve huge visions that the everyday person just doesn't know how to get there. And so I saw everyday people figuring out how to really achieve what they wanted in life. And I, again, thought, I can't know all this information and not share it with people. So that was kind of my passion behind it. I believe everybody needs a life book, including teenagers, because I think if we have this information when we're a teenager, our life would be totally different, because what we know and learn when we're 20 really changes the trajectory of your life. So I'm a big fan of teenagers and people working on a life book, but also I think couples need a life book. It's the one thing that will get them onto the same page the quickest. And they're rolling out right now, a couples life book, where you create each person creates their individual life book, and then they merge it together, which I think is a pretty powerful tool to use and to have. And once you go through the program, you kind of have the skills for life.
Yeah, it really sounds almost like I'm a sailor and my husband is also a sailor. So it's basically you have the chart and you have the map, and you basically go on a journey and you know where you're going. And then, of course, life throws whatever it throws, but you have the map and you have the destination and you have the direction. So Lifebook definitely will help you to have much clearer direction, and then also keep yourself on track, because you know that, okay, everything is holistically connected. And then if I work on all of those things, then I will be kept on this trajectory towards my dreams and visions. And so many people, when they also like come to me as a coach, I receive them, then it's like they're totally lost. They don't even they can't even sometimes comprehend they are lost, because it's just they don't have a map. They are sometimes also on somebody else's boat. And then they realize like, oh my God, I don't really even like sailing. My thing is actually driving a car in the mountains or whatever. And that's where, tools like Lifebook, I think, can make a huge difference, to really start to live, as we started this podcast, start to live your dreams on your terms. And we need more tools. And I totally agree. Like, wow, where would both of us be if we would have done Lifebook when we were in our teenage years, right? Would be like already like crazy, impactfully, help so many more people.
Well, and I think too, it brings up about knowledge in a different way that schools do not teach. So, and what I mean by that is the education system in America has a curriculum, but it's not really based on how to live your best life. And that's what Lifebook, I really truly believe, is doing. It's getting you, no matter your age, how to live your best life every day.
Yeah, it's like a script which you write yourself.
Right.
And then once you write it, you have responsibility to fulfill it.
Exactly.
That's where the fun spot.
You have a direction to go in. And I think that's what most people are missing, is they're missing the direction. They know what they want. They don't know what they believe about what they want. And we as kids and growing up, our parents didn't always use the best terminology when it came to money, or the best terminology when it came to life and achieving goals. And so some of these things we have in our head that we really aren't our true beliefs. They were given to us from others. And so this really allows you to open up and figure out, separate what you truly believe and what you've been taught that you believe. And I found by going inward that those two really are separate.
Yeah. And I so agree also, so many times people, they don't even know that, they are being run by autopilot beliefs or patterns or whatever programs they have copied. And sometimes also, it's being just a survival mode. So you have lots of coping mechanisms, which you don't even consciously know that you have until, something happens and kind of is facing you. Almost like forcing you to face this, that, okay, this doesn't work anymore. This is an old coping mechanism. I have to do something about it. And then they're like, okay, now I need to change. And then they may find Wildfit or Lifebook or whatever and start to change.
I agree 100%.
Yes, very cool. So can you just give us a little overview of those 12 steps? We will actually give people a little gift connected to it later on. But what is those 12 steps about? And then maybe you can kind of lightly go through it and then, say how long you have done it this way. And then also what is the value for people if they start to do in their lives also the 12 steps?
So the 12 steps are connected to my life vision, which I created with my Lifebook. And in order for me to achieve my life vision, which is too long to explain on here, but I narrowed it down to these 12 steps that I know will move me towards it. And it's really written 3 years out. So it's what my goals are for 3 years out. The first one is the smoothie. The second one is exercise. And it can be anything for you. Mine happens to be 10,000 steps. I just feel like that's a good marker. I meditate every single morning. And I do that before I roll out of bed, because once I roll out of bed, I know it's not going to be easy to get that in. So I make that a mark before I let the dog out that I have meditated. The fourth one is I get to sleep by 10 o'clock at night, and I'm off a tablet by 9 p.m. at night. That's my goal, because I figure it takes a little time to really wind down and get away from that blue light. My others are basically around spending quality time with my son. That's important every single day. And I really try to make an effort, whether, I'm reading to him, I'm listening to him, I'm playing with him, whatever it is, watching him in sports. Those are kind of how I do quality time with him. I'll put other things on my 12 step too, like laundry, if I'm behind in it, or, one of the things that I recently put on there is to create a meal every night, have a plan to create a meal every night, which means if I've got to take protein out of the freezer, then I need to do that before I leave to go to work. So I put that one on there, and that's really been helpful, because every night we have a sit down, healthy Wildfit meal. So those are kind of ideas on things that you can use. If you have business goals, you could put them into a 12 step. If you have education goals, you could put those into a 12 step. It's whatever it's going to move you, give you the most leverage to achieve your life vision. That's the goal of the 12 step.
Yeah. So it's basically helping to create a container in a holistic way. And so also help yourself to be accountable with yourself.
Yeah. Or if there's a character trait that you want to get better at. I feel like I'm good at many of the character traits, self-responsibility, motivation, some of those that for whatever reason, I might not want to do it in the morning or whatever. I put those in my 12 step because I'm trying to make a motion towards that character trait every day. So for whatever one you want to get better at, that would be a good thing to put into a 12 step.
Yeah. So what have you noticed now as you have done it for a while? What has changed in your reality, like inside and outside?
Everything has changed. I went through this program in 2020, early 2021. So some of these things I've been doing for well over a year at this point. I am a much calmer, kinder, nicer, more patient person today than I used to be. I'm definitely by far a better parent. I let him pretty much try to come up with the answer himself without giving him the answer. And that has been a super powerful thing. And it makes me a much happier mother. We're eating healthier. So therefore I feel, 1,000 times better than I used to feel. And that I wouldn't change for the world. Just everything. My days they're fun. I want to get up in the morning and accomplish everything that I can possibly accomplish on my 12 step. And a lot of my 12 step too, I get it done first thing in the morning. So I can cross off 5 things before I go to work. Which is pretty powerful. Water's another thing that I have on my 12 step. Not because I can't remember to drink water. It's just I want to get the right quantity in. And that changes how you feel tremendously just by drinking water every day.
Yeah. And also good water with minerals.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, so crucial, very, very cool elements which you bring out. And I so agree also, doing these things, they really, what you mentioned here, calmer, kinder, nicer. And it is because you are fulfilling your cup first, and then there is so much you can, share with others. And also because you take care of your body, mind, spirit so well, there will be less stress. So whatever life or that day throws at you, you will be fully ready to tackle that.
Yeah. And you're also, I feel like I am so authentic today. You're seeing the true me. I'm not in competition with anybody. I don't care what everybody else is doing. And I think that's what Lifebook really does for you. It shows you that holistically you create your own life and you're responsible for everything that happens to you in your life. So therefore, like it's you who needs to figure it out.
Yeah, so true. So our podcast is called Abundance in Action for a reason. So the point behind it is that we invite here people who have tried several different things, and they've learned lessons about, abundance, not only money, it's time, love, attention, possibilities, whatever you name it. So what would you say your experience with like figuring out how to bring more abundance and also financial wealth into your life has been? Because, you have tried many things, retail business, Mary Kay, whatever you name those different things. What are those key elements to put abundance in action in our lives better and faster? What do you think?
I think it's taking action, taking those steps every single day. Because you gain abundance by just doing the things that move you forward towards your goals. And gratitude is a big one for me. I am grateful all the time. Like I just am so grateful where I am today, what I'm doing today. Grateful for you, Crystal, and this podcast. And when you show gratitude does something different than almost everything else. You are just, abundance is thrown at you when you're grateful.
Yeah, so true. And it's very logical. Abundance in action. Duh, action. Yeah. So action is so important. And I so agree with that because so many times also, I get like clients or even just friends like, oh, I have a dream. I would like to do this. And I got an idea about this, but they don't take action. So all of these dreams, they actually, they will be covered with dust, or they may even, kind of start to rotten because they need to, they need action to become into this reality. So that's such a good reminder. Thank you.
Yeah. Lifebook definitely gives you abundance in all areas of your life.
Yeah, I totally believe it. So now imagine that, you have come to the end of this physical life, and there is a question basically, okay, so who were you basically when people come and look at you and your story, what you have created? What would you like your legacy to be once you leave this planet and this physical plane?
I would like my legacy to be that I have impacted hundreds of thousands of lives in a positive way, giving them, sharing both Wildfit and Lifebook with them. So they too can see the fulfillment that I have seen from it. And just everybody to see the gratitude for being able to do all of those things.
Yeah, that's a good one. Do you think hundreds of thousands, or would you like to increase that? I'm like pushing you a little.
Well, we could say millions, but
Yeah.
A little bit outside my comfort zone.
Yeah. Start with 100 and then, increase it. So it's a good start. So very cool. So another thing, what I would like to have here in the end, what would your message be to single mothers or fathers? Where could they have their focus to, not only, survive, but also turn their surviving into thriving?
You just got to take a single step. And for everybody's single step is probably going to be different. But what I would say is pick something, whether it's a green smoothie, whether it's exercise of some type, whether you're learning to meditate. You've got to take the step to start the process. And once you take one step, it leads to many steps. That's what I would say. And kids are watching. Kids are always watching. That's how they learn. So if they see you really being successful and following through, I created 12-step for Quinn. So he doesn't really need 12. He needs more like 8 or 7. But it's getting him to think about goals in a different way and to learn that it's one step to get you closer to what you want to achieve. So I would say that to parents too, that it's just the one step that you got to start taking.
Yeah. And each one can figure that out, or if they can't figure that out, they could, find themselves a coach, because with the coach, it's much easier to figure things out and get going.
Yeah. Sometimes you just need to be asked a certain question or, something to jive your memory or your thought process. And so I do coaching on the side for Lifebook. I also run the program for John and Missy Butcher, who created Lifebook, and I do the same thing for Wildfit.
Yeah, it's very very influential, amazing, powerful tools to have. Yeah. So we actually were discussing to create a very special gift for our listeners and viewers. So we will create a special page where you can get a little overview of what your, amazing 12 sacred steps were. So that can kind of, feed someone's inspiration. And then you also have another special thing. We'll put a little special link there with a special code, so that in case they are interested in Lifebook, what would be that extra abundance you will give them?
Yes, I will take my price down to $400 from $500, which I currently charge for Lifebook. It's a 6-week program, and you will create your own book, basically, of the 12 categories, which is a very powerful thing.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's so kind of you. Thank you so much. Yeah. So what else do you have in your pockets to finalize this beautiful conversation we have had? Something to give to the people, so it would continue to uplift, inspire, and not only also motivate them.
I would just say you just got to start somewhere. So whatever that might be for you, just take a step today, and get all your friends to take a step with you, because that's how we're going to change the world.
Yeah, I really like the African proverb, which is saying, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. So that's so true. So thank you so much, Maria. And I wish you all the best, and your son as well. And may the life continue to pour over a lot of abundance and a lot of opportunities, so that you can reach those many millions of people.
Thank you. Thank you for all you do, Crystal.
Thank you. And for our listeners and viewers, as always, please put like, share, or comment, or go also to iTunes or Facebook page to leave us a beautiful review. And also when you listen and download our podcast in the Podbean, also just be careful and remind yourself to really download the podcast, because that will also increase the numbers for the podcast, which nowadays is a little asset and helps us forward as well. So all the best, lots of aloha, and till the next time, mahalo.